I started posting unwittingly on Facebook all this stuff about happiness and contentment. And I'd have people message me offline going, how are you happy all the time? And I realized that I was doing a disservice because I'm not happy all the time. It's impossible unless you're delusional, you know. I mean, there are people that, you know, but I call it, because my background was fitness, I say happiness is like interval training. It's peaks and it's valleys. But when we strengthen our happiness muscle, when we work on our courage and our joy, what it allows us to do is in the good times, celebrate them without waiting for the shoe to drop. And in the not so good times, it allows us to say, this too shall pass. But coming back to happiness and joy, while there's 50% that I came out a happy baby, I just was. But there are many people that might need to be on medication to find that baseline where they can function well. And there's nothing wrong with that. Then 10% of where we think we're going to find a lot of our happiness, and I'm going to separate the word joy from this, but happiness, the right partner, the right job, the right weight, the right money, that actually only brings 10%. Because it's like that chase it, you know, the carrot and the stick. You lose the weight. Oh, someone lost more weight than I did. You get the pay raise. Oh, they got more money than I did. You got the perfect dream job. Oh, Susie got it. So there's always something better. But what we are seeing, research is showing 40%. That's a huge amount. 40% of our happiness we have control over. And the majority of that is through the choices that we make. Minute by minute, moment by moment. Because these moments build up to those minutes, build up to those days, build up to the month, build up to our life. And these micro choices that seem so insignificant in the moment. Do I choose to look at all that I am, or do I choose to look at all that I think I'm not? Do I choose to seek the good in people, or do I choose to seek the worst? Those are choices. And whether your baseline happiness is lower or higher, we all have the same choices when it comes to that kind of life and the life that we choose to try and nurture and cultivate.
Ooh, I like that. Now, I want to unpack some of that because there's a lot there. 50%, love that. I didn't realize that statistic, that there was that much of a genetic component, but that makes sense. So A, I love that. B, I also love that you said sometimes people need medication or herbs or whatever they might need to get up to that baseline. So valid, so true. I love that. Then 10% was it of the little choices that you, wow, because yes, you're right. Again, coming from a fitness background, I love fitness, and fitness makes me feel better. And when I get a little heavier than I'm comfortable with, I'm not as comfortable moving. So losing weight sometimes does make me happier, not necessarily because I'm skinny and perfect, but because I feel healthier and I can move better and I'm more comfortable in my body. So I love that there's some validity around that. It's not that I'm superficial. There's some truth around that.
Yeah, and for a long time when I went back to school for positive psychology, Laura, before I did the work around perfectionism, so I went back to school to study this guy called Tal Ben-Shahar. He taught the leading course at Harvard on happiness. And when he started teaching it, there were 8 people. When he left, there were 800. I mean, it's just crazy. And there's all this science around it now. With anything, you pick, even I do this, I choose to pick the science that supports my cause, so you have to do your own research. But I had a point. Oh, yeah. So I went back to school, and then we had 180 people from all around the world. And we met at Kripalu twice throughout the year. And we had to break up into what we were doing as a profession. And there was fitness, there was yoga. So yoga and fitness are kind of separated. There were coaches, huge amount of coaches. I was the only person from the world of fitness. So it's like, I'm like, oh, this is interesting.
Wow.
There's something here. And so what I did, I created a program called Moving to Happiness. And it's just like you said, Laura, my thing is like, I'm not here to change your workout. I'm here to change why you work out. So yes, we might need to lose weight. We might because we might need to lose weight for our health. We might need to lose weight to feel a certain way we're on the stage. But the end game, we're not making it about the weight. We're making it about how we feel. We've got more energy. We're better focused. We're less stressed. We're less anxious. So all these other feelings, these feel-good feelings, when we can make that the focus, guess what happens? You're going to lose the weight. But when you make weight the focus or looking a certain way, it's just drudgery, because I can't think of anybody who jumps out of bed today going, yay, I'm going to go to the gym to lose weight. But if I'm saying, yay, I'm going to go to Italy next year with my girlfriends, and I know I want to have enough energy to take the cooking classes, go on the hikes, and to do that, I know to be at my best optimal health, I need to lose some weight. It changes the whole focus and it changes the whole experience. But unfortunately, the fitness world, we were really good at selling 10 pounds, you're going to be happy. Look
Right.
this way, you're going to be successful. And so people often say to me, oh, I just, I don't get it. I failed at fitness. I'm like, no. You've never failed at fitness. Fitness has failed you. So I don't even use the word exercise anymore, Laura. I use the word movement. Move. Find something where you can move your body, because sitting is the worst place for our unhappiness, our depression, our stress, our inner critic. So you got to get up and move just to be your best self. It's impossible to move your mindset if you're not moving your body.
Thank you for saying that. That is so true, because we are bodies and we are minds and we're spirits, and it's all interrelated. And I just have to do a little segue on fitness before I jump ahead into some of those choices. I love that you said movement, because, and I know you know this, because I think I actually took one of your classes at a AAAI conference at the Broadmoor.
I love the Broadmoor.
Yes. Oh.
Although that altitude, I'm like, so I would do the warm up for everyone listening, and I'm in New York City, and the Broadmoor, what's the altitude there? It's not that bad, but.
Oh, Denver's 5280,
yeah.
and I think the Springs are a little higher than that.
Yes, so I'd be stuck in wind, but that's one of my favorite conferences. That hotel is beautiful.
Me too. But just the movement piece, I go every year I can go, whether or not I need continuing ed credits. And for listeners who don't know, it's basically a convention where you can get your continuing education credits for teaching fitness, whatever kind of fitness that may be. But I would get the brochure and I would pore over it, and I would circle my classes and I would highlight, because I loved the movement. And oh my goodness, I mean, you work out from like 7 in the morning until like 5 at night, and you're exhausted, but you're thrilled because you get to do things. You don't have to. I'm like, I get to take step again, and now I get to try yoga, and ooh, kickboxing, and wow, insanity. I'm going to do that. And it's fun. So, going to your point of nobody wakes up and says, yes, I get to go to the gym and lose weight. Sure don't.
And my thing is too, if you're moving and you go to the gym and go, I just hate exercise, do something different. Find a dance class, go to a dance studio, go for a walk with your girlfriends, go for a hike, go for a bike ride. It doesn't have to be in the gym. And people go, well, I'm like, just keep trying. You will find something. Maybe it's a tap class. Maybe it's a, Broadway jazz class. Who knows? But just find something, and there will be something where your body goes, this feels good. And sometimes it's just finding the right teacher. Sometimes it's finding the right music that resonates with you. But don't give up. Movement should not be a burden. And if it's walking outside, that's a beautiful place to start.
Absolutely. Yeah, love that. So thank you for that little movement segue, because I just love moving. So then going to that 40% of the choices. Ooh, talk more about that. What are some of the choices that listeners can make that can help increase their level of happiness?
Okay, so I love this quote. I'm going to try and get it right. Watch your thoughts, because they become your words. Watch your words, because they become your actions. Watch your actions, because they create your habits. Watch your habits, because they build your character, and your character creates your destiny. So that started with your thoughts. The 40% of where we really have the biggest choice and where we need awareness is our thoughts. Everything we do begins with a thought. Every emotion we have begins with a thought, and you know this. And the challenge is we have on average between 60,000 and 70,000 thoughts a day, depending on which research you're looking at. On average, they say 95% of those are the same as we had yesterday. Repetitive thoughts we're not even aware of. And 80 to 85% of those tend to be negative. Now,
Wow.
yeah, it's not a character flaw. When I say that, I was like, oh, another thing I'm not good at. I'm picking bad thoughts. No, you're not. It's part of our DNA, because our ancestors, when they were fighting, searching for food and going for their tribe, they had to focus on the things that could kill them. So their attention would be on the danger and the anxiety and the stress, and it served them well. It kept them alive, and it's why we're here today. The trouble is that part of our brain, or not the trouble, the challenge is that part of the brain is still with us. And because it's the oldest part of the brain, it's the strongest. It's the reptilian brain, the monkey brain, monkey mind,
Yeah.
So that's our fight flight response. And it's the strongest, and it's where we go the quickest. And whether we're aware of it or not, these constant thoughts that we have, these repetitive thoughts about ourselves and our position in the world and our view of the world, they will really, where our attention goes, our energy flows. And Tal used to say, appreciate the good, and the good will appreciate. So 40% is really over and over again. Where's my attention? Where's my focus? Can I reframe my focus? Do I need to reboot where my focus is? Am I focusing on everything that's wrong in the world? Am I ruminating? Am I spiraling into everything that's going wrong without reflecting on how I can change something to make it a better choice in the future? Am I living in the past? Am I worrying about the future? I mean, it's exhausting if you're not aware of it. And so before you know it, you might get to 5 o'clock in the end of your day and go, day was okay. Why do I feel so bad? Because this constant tape in our background of our mind, if we're not aware of it, that's the 40% that those thoughts will lead to our focus, will lead to our habits, will lead to our daily rituals, which ones we choose to stick to, which ones we choose to give up. So it's these micro moments that over time create either monumental success, whatever that means to you, or monumental stagnation, procrastination, doubt, worry, dread, and fear. And it doesn't happen overnight. It's these moment by moment by moment by moment choices.
And I definitely see the overlay of perfectionism with that reptilian brain. It's negative. I have to make it perfect. I can't. It's awful. It's going to be I can't. I push, pull, push, pull.
Yeah. And it's so subtle, because sometimes, and the interesting thing about perfectionism for most of it is it brings it up a level of anxiety. And anxiety and panic and excitement, they all run on the same nervous system. So it can be really challenging. So for some of us, there's nothing wrong in wanting to be excellent. There's nothing wrong in wanting to be ambitious and driven and focused and all of that. But at the end of the day, when I say to someone, or they ask me, Laura, is perfection good or bad? I'm like, I can't tell you. Perfection is only a word until you attach an emotion to it. So then I would ask you, hey, when you think about trying to be perfect, does that bring you more joy, or does it suck the joy out of you? There's your answer. If you say, no, actually, in my work life, I love trying to be perfect. It really excites me. It drives me to be the best I can. I bet don't change a thing. And then I say, well, how does your relationship with yourself? Do you feel like you have to be perfect to show up well in the world? And does that add joy to your life, or does that suck the joy out of you? And then you might go, well, first note, actually, now I think about it, I feel kind of stressed when I feel like I have to show up a certain way all the time. Or it's like, if I feel like I've made a mistake, it's not even I made a mistake, I almost feel like I am a mistake. So it's these really subtle things. And the more research I read on perfectionism, Laura, it's such an individual, tricky thing that this is where you get to be your best inner coach. You and I can guide people to have high-powered questions to go, oh, I've not looked at it from that lens. But at the end of the day, just keep coming back to where you think something is good or bad for you, a relationship, a thought process, this idea of being perfect. Does it add more joy to your life, or does it suck the joy out of you? And there will be your answer on whether you might want to unpack it a little bit. See, and then this I also get, Laura, is, well, if I give up being perfect, my fear is I'm going to suddenly sit on the couch eating bonbons. Not gonna happen. So, you are often type A people, because because there's a lot of good that comes from that. You're a high achiever. You're probably a great friend. You're always on time. You triple check your work.